Now, the BBC, we covered the story yesterday, that it apologised for its appalling handling of the Huw Edwards scandal when the parents of a teenager who said that Huw Edwards had been harassing their kid went to the BBC to say, can you get Huw Edwards off of our kid? And the BBC did nothing, absolutely nothing. They've now apologised for that. And now the family have come out. We're not naming them. No one is naming them. They deserve anonymity, whereas Huw Edwards doesn't.
He got that for a while, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he got that for a little.
Speculation.
He got that for a little while.
BBC presenter would say, "You the one."
Well, we all knew who it was, but anyway, they have said that the BBC ripped our family apart. That they say their 17-year-old kid was paid £35,000 by Huw Edwards for sex pictures
over the course of 3 years.
Over the course of 3 years,
sort of like, you know, one-hit wonder. Send me a nice picture and I'll give you a check.
I mean, we don't quite
sustained relationship.
We don't quite know the veracity of these allegations against Huw Edwards, but she'll put the case that they're true. And given that the BBC is apologising, there certainly seems to be some veracity to these claims. Well, in which case, you know, why are we, the British licence fee TV payers, why are we still paying for his 675 year?
This is the mad thing.
This is ridiculous. Get him out of the organisation.
He's been suspended on full pay now for quite some time.
Yes.
A good sort of, what, since November or something?
And the rest, yeah.
And the rest.
Yeah.
And so that is quite a long time that we've been paying for him. Apparently, he sort of had a mental health breakdown when all of this came to light. So many people at the BBC have mental health breakdowns.
Yeah. So this is what
peccadillos burst forth.
Exactly. Well, his mum, this kid's mum says, "We have suffered immense pain, and it has taken nearly a year, which has left me broken. If the BBC had handled the complaint properly, we would have not had to go through this hell. We've been ripped apart as a family." So, BBC, next time somebody calls you, what she was alleging, this poor, distraught mum, was worthy of you taking very seriously. You should have acted on it. Whether or not those allegations were true, they should have been investigated, and they should have been investigated in full, very, very quickly. And you lot should hang your heads in shame. And by the way, get rid of Huw Edwards. We don't want to pay £675,000 a year for somebody who's doing nothing. OK?
Well, do you know what else the BBC should investigate in full? And that is who has done a missile attack on a hospital in Gaza, perhaps. Because ever since that huge blunder, let's call it, by Jeremy Bowen, when they blamed the IDF for bombing an Israeli hospital, it turned out it wasn't them, it was some dodgy terrorist organisation connected to Iran. The whole sort of narrative around Israel's changed, I think, at that moment. Well, and it's not just me who seems to think that.
This is the former Attorney General, Sir Michael Ellis, said the BBC's impartiality had been brought into disrepute over its coverage of Israel and Hamas. And a little personal note, you always have a go at me because I've taken to watching the 6 p.m. BBC News, partly to be shocked, to be stunned, to be depressed, and some of their reports are so ridiculous. They're so biased, they're funny. Yeah. However, pretty much the first 10 minutes of every BBC bulletin is about the plight of Palestinians in Gaza. I'm not in any way undermining the horror that those people are going through. But there's something weird about our national broadcaster spending 10 minutes every show. It's usually that tear-stained heartbreak guy, Fergal Keane, with his Irish accent, you know, showing us destroyed buildings, etc., etc. You never get, or we're off to Israel to find out what Israelis think. It's biased. That's true. It's biased, it's impartial, it's a disgrace.
What Sir Michael Ellis is saying, from the position of having been the former Attorney General, is that this BBC sort of skewing of how they represent this ongoing war is harming diplomatic efforts to bring an end to the violence. So that's a pretty strong accusation.
A BBC spokesman said of what Mr. Ellis said, and this is a very important allegation, very important guy, former Attorney General. BBC spokesman said, "We don't agree with this opinion, which we reject entirely and is not borne out by the facts." It is borne out by the facts. You liars, you liars.
My absolute favourite, though, I've got to remind everyone of this, and I was listening to the Today programme, I think it was like yesterday or the day before, Transport Secretary, MP for the Forest of Dean, Mark Harper's there to talk about HS2
you said this,
being interviewed. And they have to just move him on to Islamophobia straight away. Don't talk about transport, the thing you're the minister for. Let's talk about Islamophobia. Yeah. And they asked him, have you been to a mosque? Have you been to a mosque? And he's like, there are no mosques in the Forest of Dean.
Yeah, exactly right.
Ridiculous.